the signing of this agreement will be more of a loss to them, to these people, than killing the fucking supreme leader. But I'm not here right now to argue about humiliation killing the Islamic Republic, okay? Because we already discussed that in the previous segment. I'm actually talking about actual military deterrence capability, right? What the Paidari camp people within the Islamic Republic are correctly arguing is that the Americans are taking away from us what they couldn't take away from what the Americans are taking away from us with negotiation, what they couldn't take away from us with war. And the Paidari camp is pointing out very accurately what the fuck is stopping the Americans to come and attack us militarily once we give up the enriched uranium. They're pointing out, the Paidari camp in Iran are correctly pointing out that the Americans are taking away something from us that we cannot undo, and in return, they're giving us something that they can undo. So what are we giving them? We're going to give them the enriched uranium, and nothing is going to bring the enriched uranium back once we give it to them, once we destroy it. But what they're giving us is the promise that they're not going to attack us, and also, I don't know, $24 billion. $24 billion, you could take it back away from the Islamic Republic in a day by just a series of bombardments. $24 billion is how much of Islamic Republic lost from the, is it 6 days of the what the blockade is doing to the Islamic Republic? So the Islamic Republic is begging for just a few $1 billion, a small percentage of what it has lost in Operation Epic Fury. So this is what if this works, this is why this is genius. The United States has managed to get the Islamic Republic to agree to give up its enriched uranium, something that we thought it was not possible, by doing two things: allowing the Islamic Republic to use Pezeshkian as a scapegoat. One. Two, I mean, they would have done that anyways, but most importantly, bankrupt them with Operation Economic Fury and the naval blockade, to the point that they're so desperate for cash that the United States could just dangle a few $1 billion of what they have already taken away from them in front of them. And for that price, the Islamic Republic will give up its most important card, which is, honestly, if the Americans manage to do that, that's a steal. That is a steal. That is at a very low price. In fact, it's so low that is so much less in price for the Americans compared to what it would have cost the Americans in military operations. The military cost for the Americans to go in and get the enriched uranium would have been astronomically higher than just paying the Islamic Republic for it and then go back to military operations back anyways. Because I could tell you that the Islamic Republic will give you plenty of excuse for you to be able to say, "Oh, you violated our agreements. We're gonna fuck you up anyways. Thank you for the enriched uranium. Now we're gonna fuck you up anyways." Because if you look at the terms of the agreement, the Islamic Republic has to agree not to fund the Hezbollah or any of the proxies ever. So you could find $1 to go to any of these groups, and you could be, the deal is violated. Now we're gonna fuck you up. The Strait of Hormuz needs to be open. That means that one section of the IRGC could just throw one drone at one commercial ship, and the Americans could be like, "Deal violated. We're gonna fuck you up. Thank you for the enriched uranium." This is like, this is so the this is why I think that the so-called more Durka jihadi people are actually more pragmatic than the so-called reformers people or moderate people. We usually say, the moderates are more pragmatic. No, actually, the so-called moderates are more pragmatic. No, actually, the so-called hardliners are more pragmatic. They're saying this is a trap. If we give this up to the Americans, then we're screwed. They could do whatever. Like, if they're bombing us while we have this enriched uranium, what are they going to do to us when we don't have it anymore? And honestly, United States doesn't even need to enter military operations after that, but I think they might, because once you take this from the Islamic Republic, Israel could basically do whatever they want after that. So when it comes to Hezbollah, once this is out, once the enriched uranium is out, do you think the Americans are going to insist to the Israelis to stop attacking Hezbollah? So I think the Americans are insisting Israel to not attack Hezbollah just for a little bit. Let us get the fucking enriched uranium, and then once we have it, then go at it. And if if the Islamic Republic complains, they're like, I had a deal with you. That's an independent nation state. Then go at it at your. Just let us get the enriched uranium out, and then go at Hezbollah as much as you want. Just let's get this out. And so I think that this is perfect. Like Hezbollah, Strait of Hormuz, the Americans have shown that they're effective at securing ships through it. If the Islamic Republic wants to close it down after, because Israel is attacking, well, then the Americans could come back at that's the violations of the deal. The Americans could come back. This is genius. Again, 3 points. This is going to be less costly to the Americans because you managed to get the enriched uranium out with a fraction of the military cost. This is going to be better for the Iranian people because you're going to be able to get to where you want with less damage to the infrastructure. And more importantly than anything, this is going to put American soldiers less at risk compared to the other options, other alternatives of getting the enriched uranium out. Less Iranians dying, less Americans dying, which is the most important, and the enriched uranium is out. Plus, you get the additional benefit of absolute humiliation. If the Americans got the enriched uranium out by force, it wouldn't be it wouldn't be humiliating to the Islamic Republic. We try to not let that happen. But if you get them to do it themselves, you also get the added benefit of humiliation and the ideological win, the win in the ideological battle. Anyways, that went for long. So are there any twos regarding this? Ooh, I'm gonna
Yes,
put a
we have to
two.
read responses. Yeah,
Okay,
Jeff is first.
I'm gonna put a two as well because I also want to add an addition regarding the how Mojtaba and Ghalibaf are now trying to ask the Americans to help them versus IRGC. But go on, Jeffrey.
So I'm going to give you an operational assessment. I won't speak to the internal, like political and psycho-sociological mechanizations of the regime remnant. I would definitely defer to you and your expertise on that. So nuclear material is not the only thing. There's a reason President Trump said they cannot build or buy nukes and or biological weapons. So that's the reason he focuses on that. So it's not just getting the stuff out, although getting the uranium dust is important to be sure, for both operational reasons ish, via traditional approach towards producing a nuclear weapon, as well as for political issues. I mean, if you want to try to maintain continuity, messaging effort, and you're looking at, well, okay, we want Congress and the Senate, so we don't have to worry about any of that undermining efforts. Sure. Here's the issue. Well, I'm going to go back to that. Let's say the threat still exists as I defined it in the beginning 6 months ago, still exists. You have pseudo-theologically motivated lunatics in an environment that increasingly selects for proliferation, right? Via revolutionary disruptive technologies that lowers the entrance barrier for you to produce WMDs, not the least of which is biologics, which makes nuclear weapons in many ways, when you think of synthetic bioweaponry using and leveraging mirrored life and democratization, supercomputing, and all the rest of it, this is so fucked up. It makes nuclear weapons look tame by comparison. So they gotta go one way or another. Let's say we do the thing though, right? Like Armin's right. If we could pull it off and get guys in there and get the stuff out and then go, now we're just gonna kill you anyway, right? I would love that. If they fall for that shit again, Armin, that's gullible. The picture there will have to be changed to I don't know. I had toilet
Doesn't that
space right
doesn't
before.
that make a deal preferable, Jeffrey? Like do a deal, get the
Well,
enriched uranium, and then fuck them up. This is
so
not.
I mean, I'm getting
Yeah.
to it. I'm getting to it. So yeah, I mean, to be sure, if that was it, then we kill. I mean, that would be great. So here's my concern. Let's say they do that because you said like the hardliners are they're perversely rational, much like how the CIA said like Kim Il Ping Pong Head is perversely rational, meaning his goal setting is fucked up, right? He's evil and fucked in the head. That said, he's not so irrational that he doesn't understand how to effectively plan to obtain said fucked up goal, right? So the Durkas, the more Durkas inside the regime go, yep, let them in and we'll get them all around those places and put all their stuff. And then either they kidnap or kill them via bombardment or direct fire. Now what? I mean, it'd be like you still have U.S. personnel inside Mullah occupied Iran with regime remnants that are getting backfilled via Putin and the Chaicoms. That was actually just released in open intelligence sources today. That's how the regime was able to fire more missiles. It wasn't just that they were pulling shit out of missile cities, because what we did in Isfahan obliterated that shit. I'm sure you did. It was like a fucking volcano went off, right? Because all the stuff went off because they're getting backfilled by their patrons. So don't get me wrong, Armin. If they could pull off what you said, that would be fucking epic. I mean, fucking epic. Where you're like, wow, you rope a dope these fuckers like 8 times, and you're like, my god, that's just. I mean, maybe they're mentally challenged. I fear they're taking some of the fun out of this, right? So I hope you understand, though, why it is. I would not be a good friend and or ally if I did not give you the assessment of what I see, right? It's not to disagree, just to make sure that you don't get blindsided. The good guys.
Yeah, just a quick response. Yeah, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, obviously, but I'm just saying that this is the most ideal situation. Obviously, I'm not saying necessarily this is going to happen, but I think this is given that this is the most ideal situation. I think this is what the Americans are trying to aiming at, and based on what I'm seeing from the Islamic Republic, they're falling for it. And honestly, I don't know if they're falling for it. I think they have no other choice, and I'll mention in my segment with regards to the nuclear material not being the only thing. I completely agree with that, but it is the most important thing. Without the nuclear material, they have no more cars. They have really no more serious cars to play. They have other cars, but it's not as important. If you can get the enriched uranium, you're going to be able to get everything else. This is the most difficult thing to get, and if you get that, it's really hard to get it with war. President Trump is trying to get it with negotiations. If it works, then there's nothing stopping the Americans and Israelis to go in and get everything else. It's the most important barrier. So, yeah, obviously, President Trump is going for everything else. Everything. President Trump is going for everything. For not just all the other stuff you mentioned. President Trump, after what is disgusted by the Islamic Republic, and he's not going to get satisfied with anything other than full regime change. But what I'm saying is that if you take that one thing away from them, everything else is so much easier. Um, okay, Nare?
Okay, next to respond is Noah.
So I think you're beginning to convince me, Armin, on this. I think um, because it is sounding good, and well, you're beginning to convince me on a lot of things. Let's just say that. So,
Would you be would you
but
no
it,
would you be happy if the Islamic Republic gives up its nuclear material in an agreement, and then get killed anyways after? Wouldn't that be nice?
yes,
Like it's
I would
yeah,
love that.
yeah, okay,
But
absolutely.
if you don't mind me playing devil's advocate,
Right.
um, because I've heard some of these discussions, couldn't they go to Russia or even Pakistan or even China to get more enriched uranium or key components, even if they were to give this up. And then I have one more, but I want you to
Well, I mean, they're not
get
going to
to
be
that
able to
first.
do that without it getting detected by Mossad, right? Like the Islamic Republic has never been able to do anything without the Israelis figuring it out, right? So far,
Right.
anyways. I mean, the Mossad has infiltrated the Islamic Republic at the highest levels, right? So, um, that I mean, if they try to do that, like this is imagine if they don't have the enriched uranium and they're now trying to do that. There's nothing. If the Israelis find out, the Americans will find out as well, and then you could go. You will obviously be able to stop them because they don't. The only thing that their main deterrence capability that they had has been taken away from them, and that what if you try to go make one, well, because you don't have one, the Americans and Israelis can stop you because they see that you're doing that,
Okay.
right?
And then yeah, that's true. Mossad will definitely. And then final thing, if we do give him money, I know a lot of Democrats would use that in the midterms, be like, well, you guys complained that President Obama gave him money, and now you giving them money too. Oh, look at the hypocrites right there. I could see this being used as a midterm statement. Again, playing devil's advocate there. 24
Yeah,
billion is a drop in the bucket compared to what, you know, but yeah,
yeah. So that would be an effective strategy for the Democrats. I think President Trump's message is that my deal, Obama's deal, was the path for the Islamic Republic to get a nuclear weapon. My deal is a path to make sure the Islamic Republic can never have a nuclear weapon. That's the line President Trump is going with, right? The way I look at it is that you took hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars away from them, and then you're giving them $24 billion, and in exchange, and not just giving it to them, only after they give up their most important leverage like that is, I mean, that is worth more than $24 billion. That should be worth more to the Islamic Republic, more than, like, imagine how bankrupt the Islamic Republic has to be that they're so desperate for $24 billion that they're giving up their most important leverage. Like, they have to be really bankrupt, and that has only been successful with the naval blockade. So I think, like, that is worth it. That's a steal. That's a steal. And then
I
honestly, it
agree.
takes a few military operations to take that $24 billion away from them again.
Also true. Thanks, Armin.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Noah. Guy, you're next, and then would you be able to bring up the question that was raised in the chat? Thank you.
Yeah. So
All right.
Shadi has been asking, like, okay, sure, I agree with you guys. But if you're lifting the blockade, that's going to be like a huge boon to them. Like you're going to be able to say, look, we got them to lift the blockade. And China's saying even if they open up
Guy,
Hormuz,
your audio is bad. Have you connected the correct microphone? I think you connected the wrong microphone. Like, check your setting.
oh
Check your setting here.
yes,
I did connect the wrong microphone. I'm now on the right microphone.
Ooh, that's fantastic. Now, okay, go start from the beginning.
By the way, regarding your talks with Ali yesterday, this was also a $50 microphone. I can
Okay.
send you the link to this as well if you want.
Okay, thank you.
So Shadi's saying, well, okay, sure, maybe I agree with you guys, but what you're doing, the price you're paying is that you're opening up the blockade in exchange for them opening up Hormuz. And that's giving them a huge boon. And let's say, okay, so you do that and then they drag you along and then they don't actually give you anything at the end, but you did open up the blockade. And then they're in a much better position. So Do you want to say something first? I have something to say to
Yeah,
that.
you. I mean, they have to give the enriched uranium or dilute it, destroy it before the blockade is removed. They're most yeah.
I don't think that's true. Based on the way Trump worded it, he said that immediately after the signing, the Strait of Hormuz will be open for all.
That's what the White House is saying, though. We'll see.
Oh,
Mm.
okay. I haven't seen that, but even if
So
that is true,
yeah,
presumably, like,
that's a fair
did you
point.
want to
Like,
say something? Or?
no, that's a fair point. I would want them to maintain the blockade until they get the. So that would be a flaw if that's what they're doing. I mean, as far as I could see, like I'm not going to come defend everything, right? I think that the blockade should be there until the enriched uranium is diluted, but I don't know. I don't know how long that would take.
So a point in defense of that, even if that happens, like it's bad, and I think we all agree that we don't want that to happen. Here's the thing: they have tankers filled to the brim with oil, and presumably they have all of their tankers filled to the brim with oil, and they're going to leave immediately after once they can, right?
Mhm.
Presumably to China, which would be the party buying from them.
Ooh.
Um,
All prices are going to
that
triple
would
up.
take. Yes, I mean that's true. That's true. If Hormuz opens up, the price drops, which presumably is why you would do that. But based on AI, so I checked with both Gemini and ChatGPT, they gave me very similar responses for what it's worth. It should take around 20 days to reach from Bandar Abbas to the ports in China. And presumably they have like all of their tankers already filled to the brim, and they already lost some money that they're never going to get back just by the delay because they've been filled to the brim for a while. And so let's say they all get to China. Now, they might not all get to China based on what Jeffrey said. But let's say they all get to China, and it takes them around 40 days to go to come back. And so they might get like a single payment out of this for a few tens of billions, presumably. It's a lot of money, but it would take them 60. Well, like by day 60, they will be back from that one-time trip, ready to pack up everything, and then you might not let them come back if the regime stalls. So it is bad, but it's a single payday that like presumably is reversible if you restart the blockade.
Yeah, yeah. We have to see what actually happens rather than what President Trump is saying before we judge this. Um,
Yeah.
President Trump might be talking about the Strait of Hormuz opening right after the sign, not the blockade meeting. Did he talk about the blockade, or did he talk about the Strait of Hormuz?
No,
I think
he said Strait of Hormuz. He's notoriously
okay.
unclear in his wording.
No. The Strait of Hormuz is what the Islamic Republic is doing. So just to be clear, that means that he hasn't said the blockade will be removed. He's saying that the Islamic Republic,
Okay, I
so
guess
the
that's
blockade might still be there while the Strait of Hormuz is expected to be opened by the Islamic Republic.
But also,
And
since the beginning of the war, has every single Trump post actually come true?
let's cautiously say not quite.
Yeah.
And one more point. I just got a video on one of my Telegram channels. There seems to be let's put it this way. There is a demonstration against IRGC and Ghalibaf. And this by the size of it, so it says in Ibn Sina and in Mashhad, so in the Ibn Sina Square and in Mashhad, This seems to be the largest protest that is unpaid that I've seen since January.
Ooh, I'm seeing it. Okay, this is great. Wait. Oh, so the pro-regime people are protesting. I don't know if this is what you're saying. Okay, so I don't know if this is what you're
I'll
saying,
send it
but
to you.
okay. But let me tell you what I'm saying. Oh, yep, we're saying the same thing. So, guys,
Okay.
I'll show it on the stream that we're doing with Ali in about 50 minutes on same channel, guys, wherever you're watching. So, but I'll read the description. Videos published on social media show that on the evening of Saturday, June 12th, a group of hardline supporters of the Islamic Republic gathered in Tehran and chanted slogans such as Ghalibaf, Araqchi, what about our leader's blood? And Araqchi, and that's one chant. Another chant is Araqchi, have some shame, let go of the country. Wow. In recent days, a portion of the regime supporters have accused the foreign ministry and the negotiating team of making concessions to the United States. Guys, can I just take a second to say I told you so way before anybody knew about any of these things, from like way back then, that this is exactly what's going to happen. I just feel so vindicated. But yeah, go on, guys. Thank you. It's good cash, by the way.
Yeah. There's also Margbar Ghalibaf going on there.
Ooh, really? Oh my
Um so I'm not listening to the video because I'm listening here, but that's what the caption is saying where I'm looking.
I'm gonna play them in.
So and it seems to be a pretty decent crowd, like considering its supporters.
Wait.
Like it's quite big, and I assume they're not getting paid for this, as opposed to during the war.
Yeah. But by the way, takes the trip is saying, show us, guys. Right now, because I can't share something with both you and the group, so I will do it in 50 minutes with Ali. With the Ali stream, we will watch it and analyze it second by second. Okay, so in 50 minutes in the Ali show, with the show that I put with Ali. But yeah, sorry, go on, guy.
Yeah, so I'm saying, even if the cost is a couple of tens of billions over the next 2 months, which would be roughly how long it would take the ships to go sell the oil, come back, and load up again, then I think it's worth it.
Okay. Yes, it's worth. I think so. I mean, we'll see. We'll see exactly what the details are. But if that is worth it, then if they open the Strait of Hormuz while they have the blockade on, then it would be really worth it. Like that would be really worth it if that. Okay. So, is there any twos? Because I don't know if I have time to tell you about.
You're
why
next, actually. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So, guys, you know how Jeffrey was saying that if they fall for this, like, are they mentally retarded, or like, what are they challenged or something? Like, why the fuck would they, like, this is an obvious trap by the Americans. If we can see this, Arakshi can see this. If we can see this, Ghalibaf can see this. If we can see this, then the beta rapper, the Mujtaba institution, the beta rapper, they could see this, right? I mean, I know they're retarded, like, because they're Durka, but they're not this retarded. Like, they could actually see other people's analysis. Why are they falling for such an obvious trap if this is what the Americans plan on? Okay. So this is what I think people need to understand. We have been in a slow moving coup for many years within the Islamic Republic, ever since Ali Khamenei became the supreme leader. It was always inevitable, and this is something that have been saying for multiple years now, that IRGC will take over the supreme leader. Like this, we have right now the supreme leadership and the IRGC as the main sources of power within the Islamic Republic, and it used to be that the supreme leadership was above IRGC. Then during Khamenei's time, they became more equal, and eventually, obviously, the IRGC, one way or another, would have taken over. I mean, if the IRGC has most of the economy and all the guns, the supreme leadership doesn't have any gun, doesn't have any military. They have devotion. They have the people power. They have the influence over the hearts and minds of the pro-regime Iranian people. That's what they have. Okay, they have fifis. They have feelings. The IRGC has guns and money. The supreme leadership has the feelings of the pro-regime people, right? So we know that eventually IRGC will take over completely, especially once there's a change in the supreme leadership, because whatever love people had for the second supreme leader, the third supreme leader would not enjoy the same amount of love, and we know this because the second supreme leader didn't enjoy as much as the first supreme leader enjoyed. So we always know that the switch will make the love and admiration and devotion less every time we switch a supreme leader. But now, so we know this is going to happen, but because of the Operation Epic Fury and also the humiliation that the Islamic Republic is going through not being able to enforce hijab, through not being able to answer very aggressively to the Israelis, and now having the supreme leader killed and not having a meaningful response to that, this coup has become faster. And now, if the Islamic Republic signs such a humiliating deal, this would even become even faster. So this coup is something that I refer to. I have been referring to as the boots versus the turbans. The boots will eventually win against the turbans, right? The IRGC versus the supreme leader. So we know this is happening, and the office of the supreme leadership, the Beit Rahbari within the Islamic Republic, obviously they see that happening as well. And they have been trying to defend themselves against the full IRGC takeover, but obviously this is something that would have been inevitable. So here's what's happening right now. I think that Vahidi is hiding, not just from the Americans, but also from Ghalibaf and the supreme leader. Because I think Vahidi knows that Ghalibaf and the supreme leader know that Vahidi could kill Ghalibaf and the supreme leader and say it was the Zionists, blame it on the Israelis, right? Given that the Israelis are basically killing people left and right, would have been doing that for within the Islamic Republic. It's easy to just kill these days, to just kill the new supreme leader and be like, oh no, so sad. The Israelis killed the third supreme leader. It's easy to do that. But now, so here's the thing: if you're just Vahidi knows that the Mojtaba and Ghalibaf don't have any military force to defend them against such an attack by Vahidi, by IRGC. So if you are from Vahidi's perspective, what Ghalibaf or Mojtaba could do is basically sell out Vahidi to the Americans. So Vahidi, in my opinion, is keeping his whereabouts secret from the supreme leadership and Ghalibaf as well, because from their understanding, if any of these people know where Vahidi is, they will tell the Americans, and the Americans will take them out. From their perspective, Ghalibaf is telling the Americans that I could be more flexible to you, but this is the obstacle are these people within the IRGC. So take them out for me. I will give you the information on how to take them out. And the reason why Ghalibaf would do that is because Ghalibaf and Mojtaba, which are now aligned, they don't want war. They pretend that they want war, but they don't want war because they're terrified. They know if war starts again, they will probably die. The Israelis will kill them, and they don't want to die. Right? So I think Ghalibaf and Mojtaba Khamenei are desperate for a deal because they are terrified of dying. Unlike what they say, they're terrified of dying. And they're telling the Americans they want to basically kill two birds with one stone by telling the Americans that it's the Vahidi and others that are the obstacle in the way. Kill them for us. They will take the IRGC, like they will use the American military because they themselves don't have a military. They will be using the American military against the IRGC. Okay, so that's what the military power that they have. And at the same time, they will be able to get a deal so that the Americans. So these people, the Ghalibaf Mojtaba camp, are afraid of both Americans and Vahidi. So by getting the Americans to kill Vahidi, they would, or take out the IRGC obstacle from the path, they will satisfy the Americans to do a deal instead of killing them, and they will also kill the people who might kill them because they want to remove the IRG, the supreme leadership out of their way. The thing is that this is, if you look at it from game theory, this might be like the Vahidi might think like this could be true or could not be true. But because it could be true, why risk it? I should kill these people just in case it's true. And from Mojtaba and Ghalibaf's perspective, this could be true or could not be true. But why risk it? We should take them out instead of waiting around and seeing if they will take us out. So both sides have an incentive to eliminate the other side instead of waiting around and seeing whether or not this is true. So that's why I think it's happening, and that's why I think that the Mujtaba Ghalibaf camp are not retarded. Like the Haidari camp is coming out and saying that you guys are moving into a trap. Why would you give the Americans the enriched uranium? Obviously, after they do that, they will have the upper hand, and you're giving to them something. They're taking away something with negotiations, um, something that they couldn't have take that they weren't able to take away from you with war. This is lunacy. This is idiocy. But from I think from the perspective of Mujtaba and Ghalibaf, they don't have any choice. They have no choice because if they go to war, they will die. At least this path gives them a chance for survival. And then from the Iranian perspective, from our perspective, um, we don't mind the Americans working with Ghalibaf and Mojtaba against IRGC, in my opinion, if this is true. Because at the end of the day, the obstacle in our way for an uprising, for taking over, is IRGC, not Ghalibaf and the supreme leadership. If the IRGC obstacle is removed from our path, the Iranian people have it's easy for the Iranian people to deal with Ghalibaf and the supreme leadership. So that's why I think I don't mind Americans using Ghalibaf and Mojtaba to work against IRGC. So that's what I'm seeing happening. And Sketch, I love it's working. Can you speak? That's fantastic. Can you speak? Let me see if it's working. We finally have camera footage from Sketch as a grease monkey.
I can't speak.
There you
Yeah,
go. It's
Sketch
working.
is next to respond too. So go ahead.
Okay, there you go. Fantastic. Guys, look, Sketch has turning into a VTuber, and now he has. You tell us, Sketch, what is this before you respond?
Well, this is like the first step. It's called a PNG tuber. I can do some layering, some bouncing of different layers, like the face layer, have the eyes open and closed. This is a very basic two-layer effect. I do have more layers, but programming it to work correctly takes a little bit of time. And eventually, it would be like you guys had a guest, Lord Nux. I would be trying to do something like that where it does the full face tracking and it matches my face movement, my eyes closing, where my head moves, my lip movements, and all that kind of thing.
Okay, fantastic. By the way, I have some Iranians who want to join our fight, but they don't want to show their faces. So I'll talk to you later if you want to give me any tips to give them because they want to do the same thing and come on YouTube and be active. So I'll talk to you about that. But let's focus on this topic right now before we. But good job. This is fantastic. Great progress.
All right. If I was going to talk on this, I'd have two basic questions. Number one, are they talking about 60 days to sign a final deal? Or are they talking 60 days and we're still talking about an MOU and an MOU has not been signed? Right? That's very important.
Yep. So the President Trump is saying the MOU will be signed tomorrow. The Islamic Republic
Okay.
is saying nah. So the understanding right now, at least, is if President Trump, again, we don't know if President Trump is playing mind games or this is going to happen. But as of right now, what President Trump is hinting at is that we will have an MOU tomorrow, and then we have 60 days after the MOU is signed to get to a deal.
During the signing, during the MOU, that's not a deal, right? So during the MOU 60-day period, they get nothing and they have to abide by the rules of the MOU, right?
So this is actually a very good question. We don't know if the 60-day period is going to be used for the Islamic Republic to show progress before a deal is signed, or what the Islamic Republic has to demonstrate starts after the 60-day. My assumption is that nothing is going to be released to the Islamic Republic unless they show their show that they're making progress. And I think that some of that needs to be done during the 60-day period before you even get to a deal.
I would think so too. Like, why would I agree? Like, why do we need that 60 days? The 60 days is to see that you're abiding by what you agreed to in this memorandum of understanding. What are you understanding? You're understanding that you can't block the straits. You're understanding that there's a lot of understanding that has to go on. And the way they keep saying one thing behind closed doors, but launching missiles, I don't think that MOU would last at all. That's number one. Number two, we have 160, I think it was, probably a little less now, tankers in the Strait. That's about 15 million metric tons of oil. If you start boom booms and you send a saturation attack on those, your desalination plants are not going to be able to deal with that because the Persian Gulf is a very shallow body of water, right? So this is an incredible danger and a reason why you would not want to have them go to do or die. I'm taking as many as I can with me mode, because that would be detrimental to all the Gulf countries. This whole time that we're going to make a deal, we're not going to make a deal. We've been secretly getting those tankers out because that is the real threat to all the Gulf countries. They might not be able to nuke them, they not be able to hit them hard with a whole bunch of Shaheds, but if they are able to do a saturation attack where those tankers can't be defended, that you would destroy desalination in that area. So to like the 60 days, I don't know, I'll just see it as time needed to get all these ships out. One of the priorities has been getting ships out. I doubt that any ships are going in because who's going to insure that? Is there any insurance company that's not going to work? There's no oil going in. There's oil coming out. So besides that, I don't see a way that this deal moves through those 60 days. Like, what are the 60 days for? If it's a deal now, if it's a deal tomorrow, what's the 60 days about? It's because the deal is not now. It's the deal in 60 days. And what we need is those 60 days to prepare the Gulf of the Persian Gulf for this type of situation. And one of the principal things you need to do is get those 15 million metric tons of oil out.
My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.